So I guess how did you do it? How did you just woke up one day and said, I'm going to run for assembly? Matthew Harper, look out. You know, you might have great style and a fedora, but I'm coming for you.
I'm coming. I'll tell you, like a lot of people who are part of what I call kind of the class of 2018, the 2016 election for me was a real turning point and a real wake-up call, right? So we woke up on November 8th, 2016, put on our little pantsuits and thought that we were about to elect our first woman president. And then we went to bed that night realizing we had elected an unrepentant, dangerous misogynist instead. And that, I think the silver lining in that is that it didn't just galvanize people like me to get more engaged in politics at every level, to run for office at every level, galvanized people, and particularly women all across this state and all across this country to step up and run for office. And I'll tell you, I think that whereas kind of pre-2016, I might have read articles about my predecessor and rolled my eyes and been a little irritated. After 2016 and after what our nation was experiencing, I was like, you know what? I'm not dealing with that bullshit anymore. Like, he doesn't deserve to have this job. He doesn't represent this community, doesn't reflect our values, and he's not doing a damn thing. So time to change that up. And that's what I did.
And so did you just kind of, I guess, research local, people who did campaigns, or, I guess, how did you get your campaign started?
How did we do? So the campaign side. So we're right now in as I said, welcome to my home studio. We're in my living room right now. My kitchen table is just off camera. And when we first started my campaign, so I decided to run in the very end of 2017. So it was like 11 months, less than 11 months before the election. And it was full on grassroots bootstrap operation for the first 6 months and through the primary. So I was lucky enough to have a small but committed group of volunteers, which were from the kind of nexus. The core group was really from my Laguna Beach Democratic Club. And we formed my campaign committee around that kitchen table. Somebody got assigned to learn how to run van and print lists so we could figure out how to do walks and talk to voters. And I think, honestly, in those early days, I approached it a little bit, I think, like as a startup. And I kind of used the same thing the same approach that I had used when we were starting a business from scratch, where it was 3 people around a table and a whiteboard. That was the approach I took with my campaign in the early days. And I'll tell you, what did I do? I bought Wellstone, I think it's called like Wellstone's Guide to Running and Winning or something like that, which was written. So that was our Bible to start with. And then it worked. And obviously as the campaign, we grew from there. And we were really volunteer-led operation and very grassroots up until the primary. And it was after the primary that I think the powers that be and the establishment started to realize that we had something here. And I was told from very early on, like, start to build that infrastructure, start to build that skeleton, so that if it gets close enough and if there's that spark, the party, Assembly Dems, we've got something that we can build on and something that we can come into. And so that's what we did. And we were able to make it happen and push it over the line.
Yeah, because this was a long-held Republican seat, right? And then that kind of 2018 blue wave came in. So I guess at what point did, I guess the party, the state party, and the speaker, I guess, reach out and say, hey, who are you?
This might be happening. Yeah. Okay. So it's so funny. I didn't even know we were going to spend quite so much time on looking back at 2018, but it is sort of a funny story. So I did get to, I got introduced to the speaker. And I think actually I can share this story because he'll still say this story when he's introducing me at like local political events. So I can't even remember when it would have been. I was probably up in Sacramento, kind of March, April of 2018. I had connected with Bill Wong and Assembly Dems, and I, had an opportunity to meet the speaker. We sat down, had a drink for like 30 minutes, and I shit you not, he walked out of the meeting with Bill and turned to Bill and said, that's a great lady. I'd love to work with her. It's a pity she's never gonna win. And so that was my introduction to the speaker. Because at the time, when I first decided to run for office, like you said, this had been a long-held Republican seat. There was a 7 percentage point Republican registration advantage.
Wow.
And that seemed to be insurmountable. By the time of even in the election, there was a 4 percentage point Republican registration advantage. And even that was largely viewed to be insurmountable. And so the real truth is, while I was in pretty constant contact with Bill and Assembly Dems, and as I said, getting the message of, start to build the infrastructure, we're going to keep watching. The first time they did a poll, it was 6 weeks before the election. 6 weeks before the election. And they did this poll and they went, oh my God, this woman might actually have a chance. And so it was 6 weeks out that like the machine mobilized, and we, the reinforcements came in, and they called out the infantry, and everybody piled in. And at the end of what was that, November 6th, 2018, right. I ended up winning by 5 percentage points and 10,000 votes.
Make sure you click the button below and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can keep up with all our news and updates.
Are called dreamers.